Hi guys, bed rant time again. Sorry if I'm going live so much. I just have a lot on my mind, and I got a lot of time on my hands, and I'm alone in the house here. So I want to do another bed rant. First of all, about the video I made about how I gave out energy, and some people were like saying, well, they don't understand what I'm saying. Well, then you either don't. It sounds to me if you don't understand what I'm saying, then you either don't understand energy and the idea of giving someone energy, which is your lack, not mine, or you don't understand giving it to someone else, i.e., caring. And if you don't do that, if you don't understand the caring part, then why am I the one being hated? Because I'm sharing that I did give my wife energy, which showed I did care at some point, and all that. So anyway, well, whatever. I was going to say some other things. I wanted to talk about the number 13 and how I had portrayed it, and I want to update that because I had some thoughts on it about the months and weeks and all that in the year. I thought about it, and yes, the moon goes around the Earth 13 times a year. That's why that's why there's each quarter turn of the moon or quarter cycle is a week. So it takes 28 days for the moon to go around the Earth because 7 times 4 is 28. And the moon goes around the Earth 13 times in a year because 28 times let me get this right. 28 times 13 is 364, which is within a day and a quarter of the number of days in the year. And I had said that maybe we should have a 13-month calendar because of that. But then I thought about it, and I thought why we have a 12-month calendar actually does make some sense, because if there's 13, if the moon goes around the Earth 13 times a year, but a season would be is 91 days, because a season would be 13 would be 364 divided by 4, which is 91, and 91 is 13 times 7. So what you have is that you have 13 weeks in a season, and that's 91 days. But if you had 13 months in the year, then 91 divided by 13 would 91 divided by 28, which is the number of months you would have per season. I think 91 days per 91 divided by 24 would be the number of months per season. And 91 divided by 28 is 91 divided by 28 is let me think here. Would be 91 divided by 28. I think it'd be I think it'd be 3 1/4, because there's another way of looking at this is that there's 13 weeks per season, because there's 91 days per season, and 91 divided by 7 is 13. So if you had if each month were 4 weeks, then each season would be 13 divided by 4 months, and 13 divided by 4 is 3 1/4. So there would be 3 1/4 months per year if there were 13 months in the year, and having 3¼ months per season would make all of our astrology off. You would have perfect synchronicity between the moon going around the earth and all that. But if each season were 3½ months, because each month would be 28 days, and 28 times 3½ is 91. And like I was saying, 91 divided by 28 is not 3 is not 3¼ right, 3¼ you would have 13 divided by 7, or 13 divided by 4, which is 3¼ months per season. And because that's very awkward, we want to have an even number of months per season, so that the number of months in the year needs to be divisible by 4, not a prime number like 13. So if you have 12 months, even though that doesn't correspond perfectly to the moon going around the earth that many times, and all that, at least with 12 months, you have 3 months per season. And that makes the seasons in this astrology work out much better. So I apologize for suggesting that we should have 13 months a year, because then we would have, basically have 3¼ months per season. And because 13 divided by 4 is 3¼ yeah. And that wouldn't work for anything. So we did right to have a 12-month year. It's more important that works out than just making sure that the moon rotates around the earth in the perfect, in the right number of times to make that. It's more important to have the symmetry of 12 months a year. So we did do it right. Astrology does work, therefore, because I was suggesting if we should have 13 months in a year, that astrology is basically a farce because they didn't do it right. But now I'm saying they did. And it's like in music, there's 12 notes in the chromatic scale. An octave is 2 to 1. 2/1 is the ratio of an octave. And in equal temperament, you have to have an interval that, when multiplied by itself, n times, where n is the number of notes in your chromatic scale, equals 2. And there's power over root in math. The power is the top number, and the root is the bottom number, the fraction of the power. So a semitone would be 2 to the 1/12 power, because 2 to the 1 is 2, and 2 to the 12th means the square root of the 12th root of 2, and 2 to the 1/12 power multiplied by itself 12 times equals 2, which is an octave. Therefore, a semitone is the ratio of a semitone in equal temperament is 2 to the 1/12 power. And again, if we had 13 notes per octave, let's say somebody thought of that, maybe we should have 13 notes per octave, then each semitone would be 2 to the 13th, 2 to the 1/13th, or 2 to the 1/13 power, the 13th root of 2, or 2 to the 1/13th power. And that would bring up some really bad weirdness if there were 13 notes in an octave. Another way of looking at that is is linearly, is that if there were 13 notes per octave, all the intervals would be really, really messed up, because no interval would be would be symmetrical. There's no way to except the one semitone. There's no other way of going around the 13 notes that would make a perfect trip around the circle, other than just the actual step itself. If you had 4 semitones, if you had 13 notes per octave and 4 semitones would be an asymmetrical interval. 3 semitones would be an asymmetrical interval. You'd have no symmetrical intervals. Whereas with 12 notes per octave, at least you have the 12 semitones per octave. You have 6 whole tones per octave. You have 4 minor thirds per octave. You have 3 major thirds per octave. You have 2 tritones per octave, and then only the 5th and the 4th, perfect 5th and perfect 4th, are non-symmetrical, which gives you the circle of fifths. And then the other non-symmetrical interval, or if it depends on how you look at it, is a semitone, which gives you the chromatic scale. So music works out much better to have 12 notes per octave, as well as the season's working out better to have 12 months per year rather than 13 months per year. Love you guys. Peace, love, and rock and roll.